Picture this. It's Super Tuesday 2020 and your state gets to vote today. You head to campus excited to cast your vote for the future of the country, only to discover that the line is out the door. You stand in line for 2 hours and you're then faced with a choice. You can either spend your valuable spare time waiting in line to vote or abandon your civic duty and go home. What would you choose? This is a problem faced by college students across the country on every voting day. Without the proper number of voting booths being supplied to college campuses, college-age students face a huge barrier to entry within the American democracy. As a college student myself and a political science major, this issue holds a lot of personal relevance for me. After conducting both personal interviews and research in conjunction with my knowledge as a political science major, I feel credible to inform you as to why voting accessibility should be improved on college campuses. The lack of voting accessibility on college campuses is a pressing issue, and it should be addressed by supplying more voting booths on college campuses in advertised and easy-to-find locations. This speech will address how the effects of supplying more voting booths will affect students, as well as being a cost-effective and easily enforceable solution. The lack of voting booths on college campuses makes it more difficult for college students to vote. According to an article by the Pew Research Center in 2018, only 13% of the votes cast in the 2016 election were from people under the age of 30. I found the statistic very surprising, considering that a study from the National Study of Learning, Voting, and Engagement conducted in 2017 found that 48.3% of college students voted in the 2016 election. This proves that college students have the desire to vote. It also proves that they struggle to vote more than many demographics. The wait time associated with voting on college campuses is becoming a bigger and bigger issue as more college students feel the desire to vote. An article by the editorial board of the Daily Bruin in 2020 outlines how some students recount waiting upwards of 4 hours to vote. College students don't always have this free time. Luckily, I have a plan that should solve this problem with an easy solution. By increasing federal funding to allocate more voting booths on college campuses, students would have a much easier time voting. My plan, which is called the College Voting Accessibility Act, would provide an average of 7 additional voting booths to each of the 44 colleges across Nebraska. Now, the number of voting booths supplied to each college would change based on the size of the college. For example, a bigger university, such as UNL, may receive 15 voting booths, while a smaller school, such as Wayne State, may only receive 4. This would be funded by the Nebraska State Legislature. An article by the New York Times by Adam Cohen in 2008 outlines a terrifying circumstance in Ohio during the 2004 election. He said he witnessed 15,000 people leaving the polls before they cast their vote due to the shortage of voting booths. This is a reality I do not want to see in my home state, which is why the College Voting Accessibility Act is so important in eliminating that wait time for college students. In addition to the additional voting booths that will be supplied to them, universities will also be referred to various tools and references that will help them better implement these new voting stations. Some notable organizations are the Campus Vote Project. The Campus Vote Project has been tackling this issue for years and has many references on their website that can be used by both students and administrators to make campuses voter-friendly. These materials include election day timelines, voter education materials, and other ways that you can make your campus an easy place to vote. By providing colleges with resources such as the Campus Vote Project, it will help them maximize their election day potential. My plan helps students in more ways than one. This plan would decrease wait times as well as encouraging strong voter turnout. To bring my claim to life, I would like to tell you the story of a close friend of mine. I interviewed a friend who would like to remain anonymous in April of 2020. She attends a small community college in Colorado, and she stated that on Super Tuesday of 2020, she went to her polling location to cast her vote. After waiting for 1.5 hours, she was forced to go to class without voting at all. She expressed to me that she did really want to vote that day, but simply did not have the time to vote. This proves that the lack of voting booths on college campuses causes countless college students to withhold their vote during each voting day. An additional article by Olivia Laughlin and Sam Levine of The Guardian, which was published in 2020, also confirms my claim. It states that for every hour that a voter has to wait, that voter is 1% less likely to cast their vote that day. While 1% may seem like a small number, it must be taken in context of all the people who vote across the country. If 1% of those people did not vote, it would account for hundreds of thousands of votes not cast, which can make a real difference. However, when you put those statistics in terms of the frequent lack of spare time had by college students, they become even scarier. If students were not able to vote, it would cause a huge number of votes to be lost during each election. Not to mention that students frequently don't have the time to waste waiting around to vote, which is why the College Voting Accessibility Act is such a necessity. My plan manages to accomplish a lot, but it's still a feasible solution to the problem. The benefits of funding more voting booths greatly outweigh the cost. A listing by Inclusion Solutions, which is a reputable manufacturer of voting booths, states that a standard, non-electronic voting booth costs only $879. My plan, which allows for the allocation of 7 voting booths per college, would cost the Nebraska State Legislature a total of only $280,000. The additional cost of advertising would fall to the schools themselves, but I can assure you this cost would be very minimal. This proves that the cost of action is very small, and it would help ease the hassle for college campuses all over the state. A report by collegestatistics.org, which was published in 2020, stated that 150,000 students were enrolled in colleges across Nebraska. Assuming that college students vote at the same rate at the national average here in Nebraska, that means that this bill would affect 72,450 students each voting day. That's an impressive number. This would help Nebraska student voting have such a better turnout and ensure that student voices can be heard as long as they can. It would help students vote more quickly, improve voter turnout, and most importantly, accomplish that goal in the most cost-effective way possible. While currently students struggle to vote due to the lack of voting booths, funding more voting booths for each college campus in Nebraska would help alleviate that wait time while also being a cost-effective solution to the problem. Voting accessibility is a pressing issue, and it needs to be addressed by supplying more voting booths on college campuses. I am asking all of you to consider the College Voting Accessibility Act. Please, instead of making students wait an obscene amount of time to vote, let's make the process easier and ensure that their voices can be heard for generations to come.